Ah, morning all. It's Tuesday. I did just do check. Hang on, I'll check again. 24th of June, 2025. This is day 3 of my current week-long trip. I'm just on the northern edges of Lowestoft, see the windmill and the most easterly point there. And today we're heading on. In the very distance there, you can probably make out Gorleston and Great Yarmouth. Where we're heading today, although that's only 2/3 of today. We've got to do a bit more beyond that as well. So I'm taking Theseus with me on the first stage of this because I came this way along the top there on the bike, and there's a car park with a proper bike rack a bit further on, and nothing really to attach the bike to, particularly safe here. So I shall be doing that. Right, let's crack on then, bike. Okay, let's try that again. My cinematography is as top notch as ever. So yeah, I mean, obviously this is not ideal. Having to wheel the bike. I've got the bike lock and chain in the back, which is quite heavy as well. The cable. Yeah, obviously there's a temptation to just get on and ride, but I'm definitely not going to do that. It's the whole point. I might as well get a bus. Actually, there were a ton of buses this morning. I do my cycling along a bus route. So this is one of the few stages of this part of the country where I could quite happily have done public transport and not used the bike. But I mean, yesterday and the day before, not so much, and possibly going north out of Yarmouth, I don't know either. So yeah. Besides, I like riding the bike. I felt good. Did about 15 miles this morning. Didn't have any real difficulty. Stopped halfway for a drink in a little corner shop. But it's got to be doing me some fitness good as well, really, isn't it? I mean, I could just push the whole thing along with me. I wouldn't have to come pick it up at the end of the day as well. So it is very unwieldy, sort of walking along with one hand on the handlebars and trying not to clonk your shin against the pedal the whole way. There's really quite a few bits along here where it's not really suitable for bikes anyway, pushed or ridden, It's alright. So yeah, just at the end of this wall top, essentially, it turns into just beach and footpath and stuff again. There's a car park on the corner with some proper bike racks, so you can spend the day there. But yeah, it's a bit overcast today, although 22, 23 later, it should brighten up later on during the day. It should clear out and be a bit more sunny. But that's good, actually. It meant I was quite cool and not overheating on the bike ride bit. So something super weather-wise for me. Still quite windy. That was a bit of a challenge on the way here. Bit of headwind. Still feel it. Don't know if you can hear that on the microphone. Yes. But to be honest, I could do with having the heat waves subsiding a bit. I mean, 22, 23, that's hot for summer, but it's not, everybody hide indoors, people are going to die type weather. Which is good when you're proposing to walk 14 miles in it. So today, Corton village up there, holiday village, just on the very cliff top at the end there. Hopton, a bit further in. Gorleston, which is a sort of on the south side of the river Yar, whatever. It's like a fairly large seaside town of its own right, and then beyond across the river is the sort of peninsula that Great Yarmouth sits on. We'll do the whole seafront there, going for a treat. And then beyond, because the way all the routes all shook out for me is that actually Lowestoft to Great Yarmouth is about 8 miles. That's just too short for a day stage because it would otherwise leave me with an enormous 19-mile push on the last day, which I don't want to do. That's traditionally my Thursday that previously I'd been doing a half day on. So yeah, I think it's some little dinky place called California beyond Great Yarmouth. And then after that is Caister on Sea, where my car is currently languishing. That'll be today's day. I can't bother to get the map out. I've got my hands full with the bike. Also, there's oncoming traffic. Oddly enough, lorry with the van with some blinky lights on coming this way. You're allowed on here. Who knows? I mean, I'm allowed to cycle on there. This is actually a cycle route. So it had a number. This might be cycle route 1, but also 514. Very confusing. This whole arcane knowledge there that I don't understand. National cycle routes doesn't normally come up until recently. The bike's holding well, yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of clattering coming from the back as I ride along. I think that's just because the spokes are all mistensioned, rubbing against each other a bit. I suppose if I want a project before the next trip, which I think is beginning of August I'm planning. I probably want to do something about that, either a whole new wheel or try tensioning the spokes. With the tops of the spokes where they go through the rim, they're all really rusted up. There's like the turning screws in the top. I don't think I could really adjust any of those. I mean, I did add an entirely new one on the back, on the like the black one, the silver watch it. I suppose I could just sort of tin snip them and cut them, and then just take them all out. It does mean I've got to get the back cog off that side to do the spokes on the other side of the wheel, which is a pain. But it might be worth doing. I think he's council emptying bins. That's good, I approve. The front bearing could do with a bit of a front bearing wobbles a bit. I think the bearing on the axle itself is starting to go on each side. Perhaps that's relatively easy to do myself. I could probably do that. I think the headset bearing as well, the actual on the top here, that could do with a bit of a replacement somewhere as well. Probably the bottom piece here where it joins this frame. So there's a bearing in there that could do with replacing. So there's bits and pieces, but I mean the crankset, me and my dad gave me a hand with because he's got like a jig and everything and big heavy tools, and he generally is not as afraid of percussive maintenance as I am, and helped me with that, and that's all working really well. The gearing and chain are all good. Has a tendency to slip when I push really hard, like, when I'm trying to panic get across a roundabout or something, so not sure if there's something that needs to be done there, perhaps just sharper teeth, maybe the teeth are wearing down. On the whole, it's good. Brakes are okay, which is important. Let's go around this side then. Yeah, he's emptying bins. Good. I mean, I do my bit. I put stuff in bins, sometimes not even my own stuff, but no one's going to empty them. Well, no point. Right, come up to the corner on the end. Time to park you for the day. And then crack on. Do the suntan stuff then as well. Get ready to go. Go proper hiking. Okay. All good to go. And we've even got signage. I'm hoping the signage is good this trip. This stage is marked as green, fully complete stage 5, so hopefully we won't have yesterday's troubles with navigation. There we go. As secured as I can make you. Good luck. Hope to see you soon. Yeah, I can just come in with the car down here off the road. Grab it this evening. So, we need to be, I think it's the right hand sign just over there. We'll be off across that lot. And up to Horton, I think. Horton Village. Pleasurewood Hills. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Somewhere, I'm not sure we've reached it yet, but somewhere just in those views and that cliff is the end of Suffolk and the beginning of Norfolk. But since we're not on a main road, and I wasn't paying attention when I was cycling either, I didn't see a sign. So, there. I imagine by the time we get to Corton, we'll probably be in Norfolk. It's hard to say with any real precision unless there's a sign on a post somewhere. But that'll be Suffolk. I liked Suffolk. It was short, varied. Still had its fair share of stupid rivers, but not nearly as bad as Essex. But let's see what Norfolk has to offer. All right, onward. So what's the time anyway? 10:46. Yeah, okay. Let's say I've deliberately made this one longer than it might otherwise needed to have been, so we're going to carry on past Yarmouth a fair bit. So it'll probably be another 6 o'clock finish. I picked up a bit of a heel blister, and heel on the right had a bit of a bubble on it. Hopefully that's going to pop or burst or something soon, because it does tend to make life a bit easier. Less pressure on it continually as you're walking. And a little bit of a little toe side blister in that one there. I mean, these boots are not really big enough, not as big as the other ones. Alright, let's zoom this way. But yeah, so back to the process of breaking in new boots. Just a pain, literally. But they're not super bad blisters. They're not like the trip-ending one around Rowhedge. That was more everything I'm carrying is wearing my feet out, whereas this is just these boots are a little bit too small. It's annoying. I just can't remember the stuff. I mean, you'd think, why don't you go and try them on before you buy them? Yes, good idea, but it's all bloody mail order nowadays, isn't it? I mean, there's a Go Outdoors in the next town over from where I am, but they never have any 13s in stock. You go in there, what have you got in 13? They bring up one boot maybe. And we could order something, so can I. So I don't know, I might go with the Merrills again if these prove to be unusable. The real thing that annoys the hell out of me, I nearly swore there, the really annoying fudging thing is that by the time you know they're no good, you've worn them to the state where they're not returnable. You know, they're just really not resellable after I've worn them. I mean, I did even try these on a few local hikes around where I live, but obviously not far enough for this to become manifest. I don't really know until you do one of these trips. This is annoying. So, there we go. Soldier on my first blister. Look at it. Some degree of blistering on almost every leg I've done since Minehead, so not the end of the world. I can continue. This isn't trip ending anyway. Oh yeah, anyway. Alright, let's crack on. I mean, that's an easy one to miss. But look like the signage has been good. I haven't got lost at all so far today. Not the walking bit. We hit a cul-de-sac too far on the way here on the bike. Yeah, we're up on top. It looks like we're basically following the coastal road, but that's okay, as long as there's a footpath. Yeah, we're up off the dunes. It looks all a bit collapsed-y, sand cliffs, stay away from the edge type stuff for most of today, so oh, you look a bit smudged there, hang on. Say dab, dab, dab. Better. I'm not sure which lens I'm currently using, there's like 5 of them on the back of here. Anyway, all good. It's not like it's super high quality anyway. I mean, I'm doing this in 30 frames per second HD, so I don't think about 60 frames per second. But John tells me that YouTube just downscales it to 30 anyway, so there you go. Plus, I've only got so much memory on this phone, so 30 will have to do you. I don't move that fast really, so action photography is not the principal thing. Right, so let's press along here. Yeah, I cycle along here. Zoom that way on the mic. So I got some degree of forewarning about what's ahead. Did even see a few ECP signs as I was zooming past, so things to steer by. It's all good. Really not anticipating navigational difficulties today, but you never know. I can make a hash up of pretty much anything. A day I've actually turned up when a thing is on. Don't know though. Time's 11:50. Yeah, so it looks like it's winding down anyway. I have no time. I've got places to be. I've got a schedule today. So this is Corton Coastal Village. Quiet looking place. Cycled through it this morning. It was quiet then too. What am I going to do with potted geraniums? That's the worst thing to try and have to carry all the way up to Cromer. And on the bicycle too. I suppose I could leave it in the B&B, but ridiculous. Yes, Corton. Yeah, it's a quiet seaside retirement holiday type place. I'm following a sign. There was one. This is the ECP. It's going along the road at the moment. Guessing the shoreline's pretty jumbly at the moment on the stretch. Sandy eroded cliffs and such. If you're planning a national trail for the ages, you probably want it to still be there in about 5 years' time. So, hence the diversions inland every now and then. I don't mind. It's a pretty straight route. I mean, I basically cycled almost exactly the same route as I'm going to be taking on foot today. Just like 2 or 3 streets over that way instead. Yeah. Car boot sales are all very well, but they're largely just an excuse to have a rummage through everyone else's car stocks. Quite a lot of unnecessary glassware, baby clothes, etc. VHS. Alright, let's crack on. Gosh. That's the kind of eccentricity I respect. Doesn't care what it's a sign about, just grab it. What is that? Very decorative. Fresh eggs, £1.20 a dozen. What am I going to do with 12 eggs? It's even worse than a potted geranium for long distance hiking. Oh look, one of the buses. Yes, this is a major bus route. I think I probably would have no trouble at all using public transport instead of the bicycle today, but it feels like I've, bought it all the way here. Might as well use it. And yeah, as I said, I'm quite enjoying it. I'm actually getting fitter this week. Only the legs. I think my eating is extremely erratic this trip. Because there's no like sit down breakfast in the morning and a restaurant dinner in the evening. It's all a bit forecourt garage this week. Mostly sugar based. Can't be doing me any good. I suppose it's all fuel. Back to a more normal diet next week. So the body can cope for now. What it needs right now is glucose in pretty regular supply. Just a nice view stop. Still haven't lost yet, though nearly. Nearly tried to get through that caravan park, but actually goes around the outside and comes down here. So there we go. Unstable cliff. 4 metres from the edge. Okay. Do my best. A few poppies here already. Are they more of an autumn thing? Is that just like, Remembrance Sunday? A bit of countryside and then Hopton somewhere up ahead, a couple of miles yonder. It's another sort of holiday park type place. Then beyond there, Gorleston. I'm just ad-libbing with these pronunciations, obviously. do note in the comments how badly I'm getting these. And that's basically the left of that big thing on the horizon, which you can see very well. That I think might be an incinerator or a cement works or something, and then the other side of that is Yarmouth, Great Yarmouth. Great Yarmouth proper, yeah. It sort of sits on a peninsula, a bit like Manhattan Island. Or something. No, because Manhattan Island's an island and that's a peninsula. I'm waffling, it's what I do. Yeah, and then we got some work to do beyond there as well. Yeah, not much to see behind because we're on a sort of bit of a curve now on the coast. Starting to begin to, technically I am now heading west. Having gone as far east as I'm going to go on this entire endeavour. Everything from here is west, although mostly north for the rest of this week, certainly. Although we turn the corner around on the last day for Cromer, start heading east, start heading west that way. Because Cromer's on a north-facing coast, so we'll have gone round the top of the bulge of, doing hand signs you can't see, the bulge of Norfolk. Then we'll stop at Cromer and worry about Hunstanton, is that it? I don't know, there's not much past Cromer, big-wise, on the coast. There's a few small seaside towns, but no large stuff like Cromer or Great Yarmouth or anything. Until probably Skegness, the next major thing beyond Cromer. We have to deal with the whole of the Wash first. I think we might visit Boston, but I don't know, I've only ever heard that in a neutral context, so probably not as exciting as Boston, Massachusetts. I think that probably is a case of the American namesake has outgrown the original, in prominence and stuff. Anyway, lots to witter on about all that in a future week, I'm sure. That'll be the August week. So I'm planning August will be Cromer around to Sutton Bridge, like on the very bottom corner of the chunk that is the Wash. And then September probably will be Sutton Bridge to Skegness. Possibly Mablethorpe beyond Skegness, depending how the staging works. But there will be some inland river detour nonsense around that week, certainly. Skegness, bloody hell, that's like proper north. Tell I'm a home county southerner. Anyway, that's two and a half trips away. I don't have to worry about that. Let's worry about today. Wind farm out there, probably get a better view as we get nearer. Off Yarmouth. Right, let's remain 4 metres from the edge of the cliff at all times. Actually, no way, that's 4 metres. It's slowly gaining on this field. I'll have to keep moving this part. Sooner I'm off it, the better, I think. The marine foreshore, cliff top. Some quite strenuous warnings on the fence there. But, I think this is a really sensible use of the land, actually. Okay, so the cliff's going to keep coming in, eventually chomp, 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 but all of these are theoretically mobile still. You have to remove the decking, and then I think you need a truck, a special truck to do it. You can't just like attach it to the tow ball of a Hyundai, whatever. And some of them even need to be cut in half or detached down the middle, with double wide ones. That one there in the middle, that white one, that's a double wide. That will just come apart in 2 pieces and a truck for each. But it can be theoretically moved. You move them inland a bit, just keep migrating ahead of the storm, ahead of the crumbling land. That's much more sensible than like a lighthouse or a 600-year-old brewery or a church or something. You have to try and remove them brick by brick and then rebuild them like inland somewhere. There's nothing that can be done about this. I mean, I've seen all sorts of stabilisers. I can't really poke over the edge of them, but they've got some really weird sort of wooden stabilisation groin type arrangements down there that I don't know, it might work. Hold off the inevitable. I've seen places where they've actually cemented the cliff, but that typically tends to be large towns, Yeah. Or just basic farmland, doesn't really bother the farmer that much if he loses a couple of metres of crop 1 year. Well, it probably bothers him very much if he's riding a tractor along it at the time. Me, I'm just drifting through. Probably never come this way again. As long as it holds for the 30 minutes of my entire lifetime that I need it for, it's fine. A lot of dog walkers out today and yesterday. And yesterday I was seeing a lot of very old people with very small dogs. I think tends to go hand in hand with places like this. Well, this is more holiday, I think, rather than permanent dwelling. But yeah, a lot of seaside retirement villages along here. Oh, and critical of dog walkers, of course, as regular viewers may know. I mean, but I've been I could count perhaps on one hand the number of times I've been actually physically attacked by a dog, It's still one hand too many, although I do still have that hand, so, it worked out in the end. But certainly people walking dogs get a lot more use out of the England Coast Guard than I do. At the end of the day, I make a big thing of how it is my thing, but I'm only out on it, 20 days a year, maybe? And that's a full year where I take full advantage of my holidays. So I see people around here every day. So yeah, used to say this is my path and not theirs. Not me, that's for sure. Alright, up and over the top. End of the line. Unavoidable inland detour there. Doesn't look like it goes too far. What's in there? Doesn't look like the cliffs collapse. It's like ex-military or something. Pretty rusty, pretty wild in there. Fine, we'll just loop round. And we should be quite close to Hopton at that point, and I might stop for a drink if you want to find a lemonade. And make today a bit more pleasurable. Not that it isn't already, of course. Do you like my lemonade, though? It's getting so I can tell the difference, Schweppes are white, the Corona stuff, the weird generic lemonade they're getting out of the way pubs that don't have a brewery affiliation. I can start to tell the difference between all of them. Something of a connoisseur, you might say. At the moment, I don't mind what lemonade they give me. Yeah, there's a sea view there. Quite good beaches at Gore's. It's quite sandy too. Lot of groins there and rocks and things. Desperate to stop it all washing down coast. Hey. It's Potter's Resort apparently. Lots of keep off the grass signs. Dogs on leads, please keep to the path, etc. Must be something more of a high-end experience than the chalet static see the side. Yeah, looks like I've got to stagger across a golf course now and all being hit in the head. Actually, in all fairness, that's never happened to me. I've walked across a lot of golf courses on this trip. Almost just never be even close to being hit by a golf ball. So, some things do only happen in sitcoms. Of all the worries I have on this kind of trip, being hit by a golf ball is not one of them. Alright, where is my marker that sort of thing? Make sure I don't trespass. I think it's up there. Private property, yeah. Coastal Park, yeah. But the Coastal Park is saying go that way from this side. It implies that you're coming from here. So I think probably this is it. Oh yeah, look, I can see a post. Probably got a little black disc on it. Try and avoid strike. I don't think anyone playing actually. That's doubly safe. See, this is the day-to-day, moment by moment of my adventure. Not all glamour. Sometimes it's a lot of standing around at junctions with you scratching your head, hoping to find some sort of clue. That's interesting. So that on that side implies it's supposed to have come through that. Oh well, whatever. I found a sign. I'm happy. Yeah, if I were more of a thug, I'd take one of those as a souvenir. You don't need a screwdriver. Still, the whole point of those is them being there so people like me know where to go. So that would be extremely poor sport to take one away as a souvenir. Let's see if they have a gift shop on their website or something. I mean, I should just get one, get a spare one or something sent to me for money. That'll be good. Alright, I think somewhere around here we'll be entering Hopton. Hopefully, I'll find a shop or a pub or something. Do a bit of a sit down at this point. I've been going pretty much non-stop since I got off the bicycle. I haven't really sat down at all. I don't really. I just tend to trudge on, which is, that's fine, because I worry about momentum, if I sit down for long periods, I start to get really stiff getting back up and moving again. Body goes into, relax everything mode, and that's not good. Also, it's quite daunting psychologically what I do. I'd take a book a week off work and decide to walk 70 miles, 60 miles, whatever, over a number of days. That's a big number. But it pays not to think about it, and also it pays just to have a kind of zen-like trudge about the whole thing. Just keep one foot in front of the other. Before you know it, chroma. Bomb. Right, let's see what we got over here then. Something beach bar related, hopefully. Ooh, one of the old Mark 1 signs. That was a transitional design before this was adopted. So I last seen one of those somewhere around Shoeburyness, I think. That was the first time I saw one as well. I haven't seen many of those. I think that's been phased out basically. That's the thing now. Good, right, well we can cut through here then, I think. Norfolk Coast Path. Oh, well, there we go. There's definite proof positive if ever we needed any that we're now in Norfolk. So well done me. Norfolk Coast Path. That's a thing. I see, yeah. I wonder why the ECP was so enthusiastically applied it. It was already a path. End of the Norfolk Coast Path. There we go. Coastal was 2019 to 20. Oh, okay, there's a group that have actually nailed their own sign to the end. So this is the start or end of, part of the England Coast Path, yeah. Start or end of the Norfolk Coast Path. And look, it's got an acorn. Good. Obviously, the ECP just agrees with it all the way from here, I expect. Cromer, that's this week, 37 miles to go. Okay. It's nice to see a signboard for the end of the week. Dunstanton, yeah, it's beyond. That'll be pretty much the last day of the August week, probably, I found. Might use it as my base of operations as well for the hotel and stuff, B&B. Right, there we go. 37 miles to do this week. That was me just, saying about how it's not a good idea to think of complete mileages and stuff. Alright, let's see where we end up next. Somewhere beach cafe, I hope. So that's good. Norfolk Coast Path, here we are. So I find the England Coast Path can be very mercurial, so it's always good to have a standby, a solid, faithful backup, and the Norfolk Coast Path looks like it might be it. So we've got two sorts of signs to keep an eye out for now. Good. I mean, that technically is the Norfolk border, I suppose. Yeah, maybe. I knew it was around here somewhere, but I didn't know quite precisely where. Yeah, good. Feeling like I've made some progress. Another county ticked off. Well, I've been checking various maps, signboards and so on, and this all does rather imply that the Norfolk Coast Path and ECP go along the beach from here, up to Gorleston. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what the OpenStreetMap view is. OpenStreetMap view has started showing the ECP actually as an overlay from here, so that's good. And yeah, it's along the beach. Okay, so I'll check the tide times. High tide was 2 or 3 hours ago. Low tide's in about two or 3 hours time, so it's mid but going out. So yeah, there's a lot of jumbled rocks and stuff. It's not as easy going as the other thing. And I guess I have to head down and trudge on. It's not too far there. You can see Gorleston in the distance, so it's going to be maybe that, so a mile or two at most. I'm not afraid of the water particularly. I just don't want to get caught in a cove with an inrushing tide or anything. It looks like a fairly straight run, just a bit of rock scrambling to deal with here and there. Something we can manage. Right, and there we go. Head down, trudge on. It's twice now in one trip. It's nice. I just have to remember that they do seem to take the coast path concept quite literally in parts and this parts. So yeah, fair enough. It does look like I can get all the way to Galveston along here, which is good because I think I may have to. Not sure there's many exits from here. Still, means I won't fall off the cliff. The cliff might fall on me. Swings and roundabouts. Onward. Yes, definitely confirmation. This way. Over or around these rocks somehow. Very interesting sea defence here. Oh, I can tell it's just wood. Like a wooden ramp. Not a metal panel along the bottom, but I guess it's relatively cheap and easy to build and maintain. Just add new planks and bits to break through. Obviously, it takes quite a bit of the energy out of the waves, though, because you can see this bay here, this like loop where the panels are missing on the bottom of that section. It's carved an entire cove. So if you can take a lot of the worst energy out of the waves before they hit this stuff, maybe that's the way. Maybe that's better than trying to build enormous jumbled artificial reefs out of extremely heavy granite from distant lands. Don't know if that stone comes from anywhere near here. Looks like West Country granite or Welsh. No, but that's going to be expensive. But anyway, so it's definitely the test bed for this kind of technology. So you see all sorts of different variations as we go around. Ooh, it's a long way to go on quite powdery sand though, because it keeps the water out, so this isn't wet, so it's quite dry. Try and go a bit nearer the actual water perhaps. Yeah, slow going. There we go, so it's a bit more compacted. Doesn't make for the best pleasure beach, to be honest. I'm trudging along for the last mile and there's just a 10-foot wooden wall between me and the sea. And even there's occasionally a slight step ladder over it, but all the steps are all rotted through, so could be anything going on the other side of that. I can hear the sound of waves, I can take a guess, but yeah, it's just me and the cliff. And tough on waves, tough on the causes of waves, keep them out. Build a wall, make the sea pay for it. Go on, you can see, I can't see over there. Is that any good? Yeah. Well, Gorleston awaits. There's another pleasure beach there. Don't know if it has a pier, it might do. I think Yarmouth's got two. So yeah, we'll be definitely seeing a couple of piers today. Oh my god, this is hard going. I'm trying to, desert walk, so keep your feet perfectly flat against the sand, but can't help but dig toe in to propel forward, and that's when it all starts to go wrong. Looks like I'm coming to some sort of end there. People up there as well. Maybe there's a cliff path. Don't know. Let's see what turns up. This might be me until Gorleston, to be honest. I can make it. I'm a winner. A winner who hasn't had any lemonade yet, though. It's starting to become a sticking point. Sun's coming out too. Nice. Oh god. Oh, it's low enough to jump over now anyway. There we go, there's a wet bit and use that instead, but this is interesting. Oil on beach, please take care. And this is a permanent metal printed sign. It's not just some sort of localised disaster. This is just a permanent state of affairs. I guess there's a big port over there. Industrial stuff. That's the only oil, but yeah. Right, let's try and scramble down here without tearing open anything important. Yeah, it might be better just to go. I'll keep going to the end. It dry sounds doing my head in. Right, I'm going to need both hands for this, but yes, I can hopefully get down to that wet bit and make some proper traction and progress onwards. I need to keep an eye out for the signs as well. Presumably I have to come off the speech at some point, but who knows? This is nice. Just about to see Lowestoft's windmill in the background there in the distance. So I started on the left. Gorleston Pier. Gorleston on Sea, I suppose, technically. So, pier review. It's not really a pier. I mean, they call it a pier, but it's a pier in the sort of old-fashioned big concrete wharf for mooring vessels against type pier. Happens to have a restaurant on one end. I mean, do I need to start implementing subcategories? It's pleasant enough. I'd say 6 probably at first glance without really doing any research. So we go around the back of this round building. Not quite sure what it is. It's for sale, whatever it was. And then we start up the south bank of the Yare, Y-A-R-E. Looks like Yare written down. And we need to find a bridge. There's Great Yarmouth's on the other side. Now, I say my plan is to do a cheeky shortcut and leave the ECP. ECP actually, it seems ungrateful now that it's actually on the ground here and got signage and finished and everything, but when they designed the ECP, there was only actually one bridge across the Yare, and that's much further north than the newer one I've seen on the way here. I remember when I was doing a bit of research for this leg a couple of years ago, just to see what bridges and ferries and things were available. I saw the Herring Bridge, the South Bridge, was essentially just on street view. It was a bunch of construction stuff. It hadn't actually been built. It is very new. So I'm thinking, and the thing is, if I take that bridge, I can cross through Great Yarmouth and hit the seafront, shorefront, much further south than the ECP does. The ECP goes north to the bridge and then cuts across town to the seafront, but it misses a huge chunk of the seafront that's south of it. So if I deviate, use the new bridge and go up the seafront, I can see more of the seafront, and so can you, dear viewer, than the ECP would have otherwise done. The ECP would have had me trudging up an industrial estate on the other side of the river there. The one I cycled through this morning. So I'm thinking, yeah, let's do that. It looks about the same flat ground distance. I don't feel like I'm taking a shortcut. I'm just taking a slightly different route that's a bit more scenic. That's what I'm going to tell myself anyway. And then we'll pick up the ECP on the seafront as it rejoins and then continue on north together. Happy. That's the idea anyway. But I don't know for sure because I cycled under that bridge along the side, so I couldn't tell if it actually had pedestrian access. So we may not actually be allowed to walk across it. We'll see. Anyway, yes, this is Gorleston-on-Sea, the pinnacle of it. Now cut around the side of this hotel here. And yeah, I mean it's technically a pier, but a pier in the big concrete jetty to stop the river overflowing and causing a massive delta here. Right. And leave the sands behind for a bit. So there we are. This is the river Yare. I don't know. Y-A-R-E. Principal exit from the Norfolk Broads. I think there are also exits at Lowestoft as well. That big raisin bridge is one of them. If you follow this upstream far enough, you'll get to Norfolk, which I think is about 30 miles inland. So we won't be visiting because there are bridges here. So yes, no Norfolk for us. No, Norfolk, Norwich, that's the one. Yes. What's up with names today? Early onset Alzheimer's, I don't know. But yes, we need to cross this to resume the coast. And rather than go upstream like 3 days to Norwich, we're going to use one of the bridges. But this is the thing: there's a new bridge that has been built since possibly the ECP planning began, which I may or may not be allowed to use. I'm probably not allowed to use it, but I'm going to anyway because it means that I can get to cross through that. I mean, there's a whole load of industrial gubbins on the very south tip of Great Yarmouth anyway, which we're not allowed in, up to and including that big building, which I still don't know what it is. I'm going to say incinerator, but it could be anything. But a bit further north of that, the town of Great Yarmouth itself starts on the other side of the river. Now, the ECP, like I said, the ECP would happily go quite far north and then miss most of the beach seafront side of Great Yarmouth, which is worth a look. So we're going to do a bit of a detour, just take in all that, and then rejoin the ECP and continue northward up to Caister on Sea. We're probably about 2/3 of the way done today, maybe, coming up on that. I don't know. There's quite a bit to do anyway, to conserve myself. But at the moment, we're just following this concrete sea wall, river wall. Yeah. Good. Yeah, it runs quite a way, this. Even up to the nearer the sea bridge. Quite deep too. Quite deep. See how big some of these boats are that can get up here. I'm not even going to bother looking those up. Yeah, hopefully you should start to see the bridge at some point. Another bend. Good. Alright, well, still on track. It's all a bit vehicular and boring, isn't it? Industrial. I mean, there's the bridge, the Heron Bridge. Ah, good. Yeah, look, pedestrian. Excellent. I was worried about that. Okay, so we're going to need to divert round to find the end of it then, so we can get on it. I mean, Norfolk Coast Path would have me go straight ahead at this point, but I think I'm going up and over that. So we need to find a way on. I've definitely just seen someone walking across it, but that's okay. That was my main worry. It wasn't actually pedestrian access. Let's go and find a way on. She does look like the Norfolk Coast Path wants me to go there as well. There's a sign. Oh no, it wants to go over there. No, I'm going to try it. Damn it. I'm going to get lost deliberately. Here we go. Yeah, so it's pavementy. Let's do it. Feeling lucky. Even stairs up to it on the other side. I needn't have gone all around that big loop. Oh well. Practically brand new, this thing. It's only got like 2 or 3 years old. There we go. Yeah, just over a year old. So yeah, good. Obviously all these long distance coast paths and whatnot predate that extensively. Alright, here we go. I guess the whole thing opens, or cantilevers or something, as necessary. Don't see anything super big out there. Do you think you have to pay to get the bridge lifted? Costs you to bring your ship through, or was it free? Covered by the taxpayer. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so it's directly heading on the horizon there. There's the some sort of pleasure garden roller coaster type of arrangement. There's the seafront basically. Did a bit of reconnoitering Saturday night when I got here. So basically I just need to thread through these houses along any old streets until I reach the sea again. Then head left. Eventually I'll rejoin the ECP, which actually goes about a mile or two that way before it finds the other bridge, the old one, the original bridge. And went over there. So it'd be a shame to miss out on so much of the seafront. Don't see many seafronts on our journeys. Let's go. There we are. Weston-super-Mare seafront. Not Weston-super-Mare, Great Yarmouth. Blimey, the names again anyway. Great Yarmouth. Yeah, I was gonna base myself there. I was gonna book in there for a week. It went £129 a night, an additional £40 a night if you want the seaward side facing rooms as well. I found somewhere about 8 streets that way into town, and it's about a third the price. So it is functional but entirely satisfactory. So yeah, it doesn't have a beef eater underneath it. Right, there's really not much point going further south here. Just to head back down the peninsula, but it's all port stuff down there. Now we go that way. The big wheel, tower, etc., pavilions, etc., and so on. And it is a Tuesday. Let me check. I can't hold any facts in my head at the moment. Yes, Tuesday. Lots of people on holiday this time of year, so I expect it will be all quite busy. Exciting. Let's start heading up. I'm not going to document all of it. It goes on for miles, obviously, but show you the highlights certainly as we head on through. This is basically the home straight now for today. Head on this way all the way up there, out the north side of Great Yarmouth, and then on for a bit more to Caister on Sea. The idea. About 5 miles to go probably today. I don't know, I'll have to check, but let's start yomping. We might even be able to see the sea at some point. There's a tat in the way. £6 all day car park. That's not bad. Pay more. Sort of derelict glide over, paddling pool at one time. See a fair few of those. Guess we don't really paddle much these days. And anyway, the sea's right there. Inside of 2 spike fences. We have to divert to the actual seafront in a minute. Horse and cart rides, I guess. And a lot of traffic being held up. I came down here on Saturday to get to the place, check in, and so on. Then I came out for a bit of a walk in here, and this whole street was closed off, and it was some sort of hot hatch, fast cars, fancy cars, rally type of thing. It's a very well styled vintage cars and things up and down. And that car park over there, they were running monster truck rides. It was like a monster truck with like a bunch of benches, like harness strap seats in the back of the pickup bit. They were just, you could pay money to go on the back of it as it ran over small wrecked cars and stuff. Still one I thought, welcome to Great Yarmouth. Here we go, dinosaur something. Closed today. It's not very active. Got a feeling we probably came midweek. That is it's definitely late June. I mean, that should be. They do holiday makers about. It goes on for quite a long way. It's done about 5 or 6 miles on Saturday night, just trying to find places. There must be an M&S here somewhere. Yeah, just got a bit lost really. But and that means I now know my way around today, for your benefit. Yeah, big wheel there. The big wheel, level with the big wheel, and about 2 streets in is my B&B. But obviously my car's 5 miles that way, and my bicycle's about 10 miles that way. So it doesn't really signify or help much that my B&B is in Great Yarmouth. I mean, normally I try and stage it so that it just doesn't matter really out of the car. The whole point. Can't just stage it around towns, but they're not convenient distance apart, which is what I found on this particular trip. This is why we're going 5 miles beyond and not just stopping here, as you might think. Anyway, more in a bit. Here's another exciting episode of peer review. So this is I can't remember what the name is. It's probably a bit nearer, but it's just the southernmost of Great Yarmouth's piers. As you can see, ruined stilts that do actually almost touch the water. So this is obviously a rebuild. There was obviously something else here before, more extensive and perhaps a little more Victorian. Inside the central room, I've been here before, like on Saturday night. Inside the central room is essentially a bowling alley, which is a good enough reason, again, good enough purpose, keep it functional. Pool tables down the side, a bar, and so on. You know, you have to pay for these buildings. They are notoriously expensive to maintain and can bankrupt councils and so on. You turn it over to a single commercial purpose, well defined, and hope that that's good enough. So yeah, I mean, it loses points because it doesn't actually reach the water. It is just a bowling alley on stilts. But I'd give it a 6 probably, based on what I've seen. maybe a 7. There's not even any cluttered stuff on the end, so you can get a reasonable view of the stuff, which we shall do so shortly. And there's a bar in there, and I'm going to get lemonade, so that buys a point. We'll call it a 6, I think, all in all. It sort of deviates greatly from the brief orb here, but it's an interesting, well-maintained, useful building on the seafront. Yeah, you can see it open. Got open, written all down the side. A lot of people leave the open sign up when they close. That infuriates me. Yeah, I'm going to go in there and find a lemonade, and then maybe show you the end. This is the end, more or less. And you can see it doesn't, I don't think it even goes out as far as low tide, very high tide. So, I don't know, is it even technically up here? Wellington Bowl, it's called. Yeah, I'll stay with my 6, I think. Well, it could easily gain another 3 if that there giant greenhouse was actually open. Winter Gardens, Botanical Garden, glass house. It's all boarded off, whitewashed. So it's a shame. That was part of all this. Then yeah, there's the next pier. We'll get some details as we get closer to that. But I'm just going to drown my sorrows for a bit. Yeah, shame. Must have been quite something in its day. Well, this is promising though. We're going to redo it. Rebuild the place. Yeah, artist's impressions. It'll be quite nice. Hopefully the money's there for it. Heritage Fund, yeah, okay. That's something to look forward to then if I'm ever this way again. Right, so Google thinks it's 5 miles to the car, although not necessarily by the coast path, just 5 miles quickest walk direction to where the car's parked, which isn't a lot, but I am flagging already, so I've done about 10, so you know. Yeah, let's crack on. It's certainly busy a Saturday. Not super busy at all. Guessing it's not a school holiday. I really should pay more attention to when school holidays are so I can, avoid them, but it's like I've lucked out here. A good old building there. Don't know what it was once, but seems to be an adventure golf place which is closed, so it's not really anything anymore. Big wheel. So my B&B is about 2 streets that way. It's less than a mile from here, about half a mile to there, but less than that even. But now I've still got 5 more miles to do today before I can come back here. Yeah, I'm so knackered in the evenings and so disinclined to want to actually walk any further in the evening. I just stay in my room, read my books, and watch iPlayer. So I did this Saturday night. I got the general impression. Now you have too. The bouncy ball thing, catapult. If I'm honest, this isn't really my bag. I'm not super keen on glitzy seafronts. I mean, they've really sort of, from what I saw, on Saturday and so that you can see today, they've really sort of gone out of their way to make seaside holiday their core identity, trying to make themselves up there with Blackpool and Brighton and Southend. Yeah, successfully, I guess. It's almost like the seaside itself is incidental in this whole picture. Not my cup of tea, really, but there you go. Some very glitzy. The flamingo, circus, golden nugget, the silver slipper there. 2 others I can't reach from this angle. Very similar. Delusions of Las Vegas, but it's basically all coin drop and grabby crane machines in there. So. Well, one further out, I should actually hear some called bingo going on, legs 11 and all that. So I thought was quaint. I didn't think they did that anymore, really. Yeah, it's quite a sight. Quite a rare sight on my travels. There's not many towns like this along the England coast path. I've got to drink it in while I see them. I'm not sure what that is. Tower bar. Buddha Club. No, maybe it's just there because you've got to have a tower, you know? If you can go up it, maybe it's a vigilante's lair. Can't go wrong with pirate golf. Crazy golf and pirates, long associated in history. The water's actually blue coming out of that fountain. Dyed the water. The Empire. So there's that grand old place. Doubt it's served its original purpose anymore then. Here we go, so that one over there was the Wellington Pier. This is the Britannia Pier. Great Yarmouth is blessed with two. This is a much more traditional operation, a series of staggered buildings leading up to the large building at the end. This one actually is a theatre. You don't see that much anymore. You know, the big theatre at the end of the pier thing. Typically that building gets replaced by a fish and chip restaurant or a bowling alley or something. Or I think it's a climbing wall at Bournemouth. But the idea that there's actually an operating theatre on the end of the pier, that's going to be worth a few points. Mind you, the far end does look tattered up with fairground junk, so that might be a few points off. Let's go and have a look. Leaning to a 7 at the moment, just based on its traditional lines and function. Reasonable state of repair. Doesn't actually reach the sea, but also, like the Wellington one, looks like it stopped at a high tide mark or earlier. But we got a theatre. I mean, I'm going to have to look at the boards to see who's on to render a final judgment. Go and have a look. Wooden decking. Oh, they've maximised the arcade floorage there. Yeah, very little room for anything else. So look, an end of pier theatre. We got Supreme Queen, tribute band, obviously, Chris Colton, Jim Davison, OBE. Wow, if you ever wonder whatever happened to him, now you know. Jimmy Carr, Shawaddy Waddy 50th anniversary tour, Roy Chubby Brown, King Pop, I think that's Michael Jackson, and a Whitney Houston tribute act. Right, well, if I'm honest, there's nothing much I'd want to see there myself, but I know a lot of people take comfort in this kind of thing. Sue Pollard. Right. Thank you for the music. ABBA tribute. Evening with Paul Gascoigne. Well, it's certainly thriving. It's getting the act. Let's go and see if we can see what's going on at the end. Can I see where the car is from here? Yeah, there's a lot of dunes and then a corner. Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep walking and we'll find out. Oh, just suddenly occurred to me that there's a substantial amount of UB40 going on in the background there. I think that's a takedown strike. Oh dear, this is looking disappointing. It's a tatty fun fair and it's even closed. See, this really gets to me. The whole point of a pier is to be for landsfolk to be able to go and stand out there and think they're at sea or on a big boat or something. It's not just, I can't enjoy an arcade unless it's elevated above sand on wooden slats. Oh, well, not being able to get through doesn't matter anyway. There's there's the big old, do not enter. Like, no, you wouldn't possibly be wanting to look at the sea on a pier, no? Well, this and the prevalence of Jim Davison, I think, is going to bring it down to a 5, really. I honestly preferred the simple honesty of the Wellington bowling pier over there. Right, and then we're back to the shore and onward. This is as far as I got on my Saturday wanderings, by the way. All new for me going north from here. The beach up and then into the dune. Now, I did see on I think it might have been my guilty pleasure, the Michael Portillo train thing. He came here, and there's a Venetian water park thing a bit further up, which we might pass. So let's see if we can see that. That's probably going to trump both these piers. So that's another pier review. I think it's definitely one for Chroma. Um, Although I will be very tired at the end of a 5-day grueling 15-mile-a-day hiking week, so I may not be my chipper self when we get that one. But the next trip will start there, so maybe I'll do that then. Anyway, got to keep moving. Right, on our way out, on the path again. Oh, nice enough place. But not, as I say, not really my thing. As you might have guessed, proportionately, time spent atop moorland cliffs, time spent walking along promenades of seafront towns. I have to say though, this one smells of weed a lot less than most that I've seen. Well done there. Alright, so we'll just follow the line of beach huts and eventually we'll dwindle out to the outskirts and then off to California, I think, next. I don't know, I just work here. The sound wind there, carrying the top stuff about. Dry on this top bit. The sea never comes nearly this high, I shouldn't think. Well, June, but it's entirely an artificial construct, this section, I'm sure. It's for the holiday making. Oh, we got there. Another poorly tended and over and bowls green, I think. Shut up clubhouse. Maybe no call for it. Right, one foot in front of the other. Keep plodding on. Here we are. I mean, I admit now I potentially oversold it, but there are boats that sort of go around it. It's a big sort of little waterway, like bridges and things over it. I'll record again if I see a boat happening. Established 1928. Yeah. I've not seen any boats. Tell you bloody what though, this here, I don't know what this plant is, but it's flowering at the moment and really cloying scent, and I can hardly breathe when I go near it, it's awful. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but they all need tearing out and burning. Right. God. Onward. To fresh air. Yeah, big long pavement trudge here. Heading on out north out of Great Yarmouth. In the North Dean Dunes, apparently. Big wind farm over there. Boring but efficient. That often been described as. No, actually, that last part's been totally wrong. Oh, so I'll keep trudging along here. Eventually, I don't know really. See. Eventually, I'll find the car, I suppose. Don't hazard a guess at how far now. I'm at that counting the last remaining miles stage there. I have burnt out a little, if I'm honest. That's okay. The only way out of this situation is forward, so it's fine. I basically set myself a problem that can only be resolved by doing it. Not really much in the way of easy escape. I mean, I can see bus routes and stuff, but I would never live down. I'd never forgive myself for cheating in that way on this job, on this endeavour. Yep, just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Get there eventually. They're a bit throbby, but nothing a night's rest won't sort out. More time. 3:30, yeah. I mean, I'd expect to take another hour and a half, really. It'd be going quite quickly, to be honest, if that were the case. You know what that is? Oh, of course, it's a road train. Not quite the Australian road train, but something similar. Right. Still on the trail. About 2 miles to go from here, 2.5. An hour today. Another massive haven place. I want to know where they all came from. When I was a kid, it was all like Butlins and Pontins, but then I obviously wasn't paying attention, and now these are everywhere. Or is it confirmation bias? I mean, they spend a lot of time on the coast, where these naturally are. I don't know, it seems a lot of them now. It's the modern holiday, I guess, rather than the hidey-high campers thing that I used to do when I was young, 8 or 9 or whatever, the family. That was it. That going out of fashion even then. Right, let's press on. Oh, 4:15. So let's sit down on this convenient concrete thing. Drink some more water. The more water you drink, the lighter your bag is. Win-win. Hydration and easier going. Just finished passing that holiday camp. That's one way to ensure everyone gets to see you. Make it 4 miles long, about one caravan deep. Yeah, so 1.4 miles apparently. So yeah, about half an hour's worth. Getting there. It's the Caister on Sea over there. I do apologise. It turns out California is tomorrow. That's north of Caister on Sea. The next thing beyond. So I got that all jumbled up. I've been jumbling up a lot today. I blame the heat and the dehydration and the general fatigue and physical hardship. That's fine. Looking forward to buying a lot of very cold drinks from 24-hour garage forecourt, and then retreating to my B&B room to read my book and just not stand on my feet for the rest of the day. I mean, this is day 3 out of 5. I'm feeling, worn out and tired and a bit hard done by, but I don't think I can't finish the next 2 days, so I think we're on for a full completion. I mean, there's always going to be a certain amount of hardship involved in these trips. That's, what it is. Yes, we're persistent hunters, but most of us don't do persistence hunting on a day-to-day life. I was pondering, trying to work out, are there any professions whose job it is to walk for 7.5 hours, 5 days a week? Literally what I'm doing here, but as part of their job. I mean, traffic wardens perhaps, but I imagine even they get to sit down a bit more. Mind you, I get to sit down now and then, but principally my job is walking around a lot for this week. my normal day job is sitting around a lot, so yeah, there's quite a few jobs out there that basically just involve, literally pounding the pavement, being on your feet all day, walking all day. So you're tough into it, really. I mean, I notice that I start to pull through and get a little bit hardy by the end of the week, and then I stop and go and do my sedentary life again for 5 more weeks. So it kicks me in the arse the next trip out every time. But I'm not quite ready to give up my day job and do this for a living. I don't know how I do this for a living. Sponsorship deals, I suppose. Not exactly a sport. Right, anyway, the cabin has cracked on and finished today. Yeah, probably looking for 5 o'clock finish. About right, that's quite good. Caister lifeboat. Sure, I've heard of this. Yeah, it's been on an episode of Saving Lives at Sea or something. Independent one though, not RNLI. Saving Lives since 1794. Independent since 1969. Wow, what happened there? I'll just skew them. So if that's the famous one, or the Cromer lifeboat. Yeah, they're obviously always risking their lives at sea, but there's a particularly famous one in Cromer where they all died. I don't know. Look it up. Oh, I've really got a lot of witty repartee to offer at the moment. Flying on fumes, the vapours. Oh, I think this is the coast now still. I think it literally is the coast at the moment. Dunes and such like. The next half a mile. Then we need the 2nd Avenue car park, beach car park. That's where my rascal of a car is playing hide and seek today. That's not the first big Caister beachfront, it was the second bit. Oh, God. Not really appreciating this dry sand dune path. If I can get on there, well, people have their footprints. Of course, the balance. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, concrete, lovely. Yeah, keep at it. Nearly done. Yeah. Doesn't look like Caister is the beachfront type place. It's mostly just houses on the sea. Just try and keep an eye out for my left turning. The beach car park, Avenue 2. Wow, there's a big backpack coming the other way. I wonder if he's doing a coast path. He's probably stop and ask, but I'm a bit scared of people, really, so I'll leave him be. Was a she. I did my best. I did the the sort of pained, exhausted that I do when I pass people, and she did something similar back, and there we go. I'll never know. Mind you, she had the full bag on, proper day, proper wild camping size bag, I'd say, with hiking stick. Off she goes. Oh yeah, I haven't really thought about wild camping pitches on this trip. I mean, there's been plenty around. I'd have been more on the ball, I could have pointed some out. I expect if she is wild camping, she'll easily find stuff in the North Dean's Dunes there. That look like a good place. And if she is wild camping, she's probably got another. If I were wild camping, I'd be looking at another 3 or 4 hours before thinking about setting a tent up. These overcast clouds make it seem later than it is, but it's only 4:30, and there's, pretty much another 5 hours of daylight left. So, or maybe she's heading for a B&B or hotel in Great Yarmouth. Who knows? None of my business. Let's crack on. So I'm trying to work out if that's. I guess I'll just keep an eye out, really. Somewhere along here is a left up some scrappy dunes and into a car park. And my car should be there. But I didn't see it from this side, obviously. Took off on the bike inland and onto the main road, so you just have to be observant. Which, I'm tip-top super keen senses at this point in the proceedings. I think I can manage another 2 days of this. I just think I could manage another 2 days of this right now. Quite like to go and, rest and sleep for a bit first. Right, can't be far away. Let's check the map. Don't want to get this wrong. End up in California. The sun's kicking my ass for the very last stretch of the day. Still, lots of people loitering on the beach. That implies a beach car park, which probably is the one my car's in, if all gone to plan. So we're looking for some sort of off-ramp to the left, ideally, because these people wouldn't have been climbing over there. We're coming together. 10 to 5. Found some concrete. I think that is the path, though, just there. I'm getting a bit worried about that. The Norfolk Coast path, in my experience today so far, does seem to be all about, let's go, on the sand, go, go, go. So, hoping that doesn't keep up for the entirety of tomorrow and Thursday. It's going to be very slow going, probably. I recognise that dark tree on the horizon. I think a park next to it. Roof next to it. Flat roof there is toilet block. Car should just be the other side, I suppose. Yeah, I was hoping anyway. Could do with today being over now. And top of everything else, I'm in the middle of remortgaging. My fixed rate ended. I'm sorting out the next one, and the automated system that deals with all the paperwork and legal has been spamming me with progress updates over the last hour, none of which I feel I can really do a lot about right now. But of course, all of which are super important and need dealing with. So I have to go and buy a pen and paper on the way home so I can start working some things out in the B&B room. I don't end up homeless at the end of the month. Actually, to be honest, if it all falls apart at the end of the month, I just end up on my current lender's variable rate, which, will be punitive, but nobody's going to throw me out of my house. So. But yes, it's going to nag at me, and I won't enjoy tomorrow if all these urgent action nows haven't been dealt with. Honestly, do without that right now, thank you. Yeah, I'm on holiday. Right, hopefully the car is just up there. Well, here we are. Pretty much bang on 5 o'clock. This is the Caister on Sea 2nd Avenue car park. There's my car. Still alive, intact, on fire. Generally very looking healthy. Good. No. Free parking too all day. So I'm gonna. Alright, well I'll leave you here anyway. Goodbye, but I'm gonna need to go off and get my bike. If it's still where you saw me put it. I have video evidence that I put it there today. And then back to the B&B via a chiller cabinet in a painfully unaware forecourt garage that I'm about to descend on and Vike like a Viking. Here we go. So yes, speak to you tomorrow. Back on the I can't climb over and show you, but It just turned into a footpath, a promenade just at the last minute there, and then it's going to head off, presumably at the end of this car park, out into half and off to California and beyond. Tomorrow's, I don't even know what it's called. I couldn't tell you. I'll tell you tomorrow because it was a tiny little village that I picked purely because it was exactly halfway between here and Cromer. I think it looked like it had a likely car park. I think there was a lifeboat station there. Might have begun with an R. I don't know. I'll tell you tomorrow. I should be more focused then, hopefully. And then, so this is, yeah, that's the end of day 3. Day 4 tomorrow. Day 5 the day after that to Cromer, hopefully. I think we're all okay. But speak to you more tomorrow anyway. Goodbye.